When you pick up some live pollywogs in your hand and you dip them out of the water in the pond, the ephemeral pond of temporary water, and when you see these wonderful spadefoot toads grow their back legs and still with the tail start to wander around, it's absolutely amazing, just amazing. So this is a whole group of pollywogs that stayed in the channel and didn't swim out into the main pond. And so they're all just about dead. And they're still alive, they're still moving. So what we'll do is scoop some of them out and see if we can get them into the main channel. You see, they don't have their back legs formed, so this is a late brood. And there you see at least one carnivore, and the rest are omnivore. Some are various sizes, perhaps their age. So can we scoop it up? Do we care enough about them to transport them into the pond? Let's see if we can do this without. So, whoa, they're wiggling a lot. They're wiggling a lot here. So we're going to save half the population here. Move. Whoa, kind of feels like a massage on my hand here. Okay, move it here. Join your brothers and sisters there. You're going to find this a lot easier. So there's more of a carnivore one. So I got a theory that maybe later in the season, as you get closer to this survive or die potential here, that you can get a bigger chance of survival in a brood hatching if you have more of the carnivores. It's just an idea. Here you can see the ones that got the four legs. See if I can get a close enough shot here for you without falling in. Come on, little ones. Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're shy. They don't want to show themselves. So we have Spadefoots, new ones hatching. There's a carnivore. It looks very primordial. You can see that. Probably got my finger in front of the lens here. Here's another one. So maybe we're going to see more of those carnivores as it gets closer to the pond drying up. And the parents go, hey, if we want to survive generation to generation, we're going to have to produce less of these friendly ones and more of the aggressive ones that will engage in cannibalism. So here you see the wetlands coming alive. Looks like some form of grass here in the channel. But definitely those ones cut off here, if I didn't scoop them up, they'd be dead later today. Because there's not going to be any rain for a while. And here's a bunch of them just swimming. Like all get out. And I'm wondering if the ones that got their legs yesterday pretty much left the pond. Because I don't see many of them around. Or maybe they're further out, just coming up for air. They're coming in and out when they need to, and they're in the brush here. Being in the brush is the safest place to be. Yeah, there's more of the carnivores happening here today than in the last couple of days. So it's a hypothesis. We'll have to check it out. Okay, so these are fairy shrimp. New Mexico fairy shrimp. This is a frog that's grown his back legs, and that's just been happening here the last few days. This is the burn pile that I've been cleaning up so that we could have fresh pond water. This is a hackberry tree that's nearby. I'm going to show you the microcosm now. I've taken some of the pond water, I got my microscope, and look at what's going on here. The stardust in that water, the particles that are just not moving, I'm going to call those stardust. Nice gems. This is about 2500 magnification. Here you see some protozoa feeding off other living species and eating the organic matter. You can see some protozoa just whiz by so fast, so rapidly, you can't even follow them if I try to move around the things of the microscope. So fairy shrimp. Let's take a look at some fairy shrimp under the microscope. Even at 40 times magnification, they're pretty big. I'm looking at the body. Here you see the gills pulsating of one of the fairy shrimp from the pond. I went ahead and returned this fairy shrimp after looking at him or her under the microscope, and just wanted to show you some of the features here. This pulsating legs and combination gills. Here you see some of the body, and inside the body you'll see some living organisms, just like in our own body. The fairy shrimp have living things inside of them. A human body has 37.2 trillion living cells in it, and that are reproducing. Our body reproduces itself, the skin and every other part of it. And here I'm going to look at just regular pond water, and you see the movement of the life in the pond water in and around the organic matter from the pond. So when I dip my hand in there and I'm holding the polywogs, or I'm picking up some fairy shrimp, this is the rest of it that at 2500, 1500 magnification, I think this is 1500 right now, you can see the life whizzing by. Of course, I want to see other kinds of life, but this is life of the fairy shrimp. This still picture of the fairy shrimp, and now I'm going to look at the eyes of the fairy shrimp. They have one molecule, very, very single cell that lets them see light or no light. Essentially, they're not going to see images as far as I know, but they just have that one single cell. So we're seeing this at 40 magnification, so quite large there. Takes up the whole screen here. Now we'll take a look at this wonderful, fascinating relationship of the rocks, the stardust, and the microcosmos of life that's here between living organisms eating, absorbing one another, just amazing, moving by their cilia, and amongst all the jewels. We don't get to see this unless we have really fine microscope. I've been nice to my wife lately, so she let me buy one. And those very, very tiny things moving around, they are either bacteria, or you could drill down to viruses if your microscope is that powerful. Here we see a struggle between that round object. It looks like it has two eyes. I don't think they're two eyes, actually. Maybe they're photosensitive, light sensitive. That could be. And it's moving around, and we're just kind of observing it, learning from it. So there's this whole realm of life that is quantum shaman that I'm interested in, getting in touch with the very, very microcosmos. There's a wonderful series in YouTube. Just put in the words microcosmos and go ahead and see all of that that's happening here. So, I'm moving around to try to chase down some of the fast movers here. And you see they're all different sizes here. We'll stay here for a little bit. And this clump of organic matter and some nice jewels of stardust that are a few microns in diameter. And you see different kinds of life forms, some speeding about and some just at a more leisurely pace. So the time lapse here for different species comes into play. So here we have this black thing that looks like a hair is actually, there's a round cellular thing that's very large, and inside the cellular thing I'm seeing all this life moving around it. And if I turn the light on, it actually, if I make the light any more intensity coming underneath the slide, it would actually move that black line on the right. So just starting to do some searches to see what's alive and what's moving in the water. And, I'm fascinated that if we move to the ANTESTORY, A-N-T-E, we're looking at how all life is this combination of the stardust and the organic matter and the microorganisms that move about and have digestive systems. Some have types of brain systems, some have not eyeballs, but they might have something on an eye stalk, like the fairy shrimp. But maybe they just sense pressure. They sense what's happening in the environment around them. They can sense motion. They can sense the waves moving. So it's kind of interesting. And I want to show you just a little shot of the pond water. So when I dip my hand in the pond water, I'm actually picking up all of this microcosm of life. This is just one droplet of water that I could roam around for as long as the water survives. There you see the pond when it first filled in July 2020. And when I've collected the water here on August 1st, all of this life is happening in that pond water. So I collected specimens of pond water, brought it back, and I'm looking here through it. Now with different kinds of light intensity and different colors, I can see different kinds of objects. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and it's just a wonderful realm to explore, to know that we're not the only thing on the planet that matters. And so our ecology matters, what we do to the geomorphology, what we do to the hydrology. We are water, we are rocks, we are stardust, we are all of this. And we need to care for the water because it cares for us. Thank you.